read it, and others of you may be getting it for the first time tonight, and maybe you just have questions about the project or the interviews, and I'm sure this will spark some interesting conversation. John?
I just want to know, how difficult was it to reach the friends? How did you do that? How do you call Karen Carpenter's best friend up, or write to them? Or?
Well, I did it unsuccessfully for about 8 years, in Frenda's case anyway. I would maybe get a phone number or an email address that I thought was hers, and so I would drop a note or leave a message, and never got a response. So my idea with that was, since I hadn't got a no, I'd keep trying. And so I guess it was Carol Curb, who was one of the first people I interviewed. She said yes right away. And she kept saying, you know, hey, how's the project going? She'd check in. We'd maybe exchange an email once a year or something like that. And Carol would say, how's the project going? You know, have you got a publisher? And I would say, you know, I'm not quite there yet. I'm not ready for that. And she'd say, well, you know, I'm still working on Frenda for you. And it was finally her, after I went back to Carol and said, you know, hey, I've got the book deal. I know that it's going to be published by Chicago Review Press, and here's the, you know, the deadline and that sort of thing. And so she went back to her again, and finally she copied me on an email that she was sending to Frenda, and basically kind of turned it over to me at that point. She talked as if Frenda was ready to visit, and I happened to be coming to LA in a few months after that, and Frenda invited me over for tea. And I think it was timing, because as she told me that day, she said, you know, there are times that I can't go there. I can't listen to the music. I can't think of all the wonderful times that we had together, and I just can't go there. And there are other times that I can. And I think I finally, you know, got her at a time she was ready to talk. And she was one that was most adamant about, you know, wanting Karen to have that voice out there, and wanting her to have her story told, and not, you know, just a press release version of her story. And there was so much more. She said, I want you to know the many layers of Karen. And she said she was such a deep, deep person with such a, you know, a deep soul. And, you know, she was one that provided a lot of the interesting personal things as far as nicknames that Karen had for everybody. And I think she gave a really nice personal touch.
Did it help that you came in after the fact, that, you know, I mean, 89, you discovered her pretty much after that? Do you feel that you might have gotten a different cooperation from people because you weren't really a...
Maybe. It also helped, I think, that I wasn't a journalist and wasn't, I guess, known as a writer of biographies and things like that. You know, I think that because I went at it as, you know, I'm just a music teacher, I'm a fan, and I think I established that there was this underlying love and appreciation for Karen's work. And after I was able to convince people that there was, you know, no malice, I wasn't digging for the dirt, it was just me wanting to tell her story, then people were ready to come forward and do that. Because, you know, it wasn't me saying, okay, I'm going to write my 15th biography on so-and-so this time. You know, it was somebody that I had appreciated for a long time, and I guess I approached in the right way, and it seemed to work okay.
The secretary is still alive.
Evelyn is 90 years old.
Oh, wow.
90 years
Lives
old.
right outside Salt Lake City.
Because I have read your book, and the one thing that I was really impressed with was the fact that the other book, The Carpenters, seemed very much to, not that yours is salacious or anything, but that one seemed to really toe the line in certain respects. I didn't feel that I was getting the full story. It sounded as if this secretary, especially, who obviously loved Karen, had been waiting for years to tell some of these stories. So that's why I kind of, did you get that impression? Because it really seemed to flow out of her.
Yeah, and it was something, you know, in the beginning, she wanted to help, but she wasn't sure if she wanted to attach her name to it. And, you know, the last thing you want to do is read a biography and have, you know, personal friend or friend of the family says, you know, people want to know who's talking. And so even though it was great to interview her and know that I could use the information as background, I did want to be able for people to know who she was. And it was only after people like Frenda and Itchy and then Olivia Newton-John and some of these other people came on board that she said, oh, well, you know, if they told you this or that, you know, after those people came on board, she was more okay with lending her name to the project. And if you know Evelyn, this will be kind of cute or funny to you, but she said, I had lunch with her best friend yesterday in Downey, and she said that Evelyn sends her love and says that he couldn't have written a better book if he had followed Karen around and written it down as she did it. And I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's a sweet compliment from Evelyn, because she did know them on a day-to-day basis and worked right there in the home. But I do think you're right. She had wanted to talk for a long time, and I guess enough time had passed that once again she
As
was
a
ready.
fan, thank you for writing this book, because I was a fan when music was actually coming out, and then to see it get revived with the Karen Carpenter story, and then now with your book, more and more interest is coming back to the music, and it just thrills me. And you did a fantastic job, and I love every page of it. So thank you.
Great, thank you. It was my pleasure.
A question about the solo album when we were talking earlier. Do you think that the playback session where Richard or Phil Ramone talks about the silence was deafening and all, do you think that that whole incident happened basically a deference to Richard, or do you really feel in their heart of hearts that that album had a hit on it? Because I listen to that album and I think it's very strong, and I can imagine. I mean, if you listen to an album like Passage, I think the solo album is much stronger.
Yeah, I was going to say, when compared to what Carpenters were doing before and after, I mean, yeah, and from talking with Phil, I think the general consensus was that they had talked, and I say they, Richard and Herb and Jerry had made up their minds before they entered the playback.
That's
And
kind of my thought.
they knew what the answer was going to be regardless of what they heard. Because from what he said, you know, in their opinion, this meant the end of the Carpenters, because, I mean, Karen was going to take off, is what he thought, you know, and it was decided before they even went in.
I would just say, either that or he talked to Agnes before he went.
Now, one of the funny things that Evelyn said was that, you know, Agnes wasn't too worried about the solo album, because in her mind, that, you know, it couldn't be as good as anything that Richard would do. I thank you all once again. This has been such a pleasure. I look forward to meeting you guys as we go through the line back here and everything, but really, really appreciate you coming out this evening, and I think Karen would be proud to see people coming out of the woodwork, and it's gone beyond just that diehard fan circle. I mean, I'm getting people who are coming to these events and saying, you know, the Carpenters were my first concert in 1972, or, you know, I had a couple of their albums, and, you know, they have not followed the Carpenters since her passing, and then something with this has sparked their interest again, and I think it's neat that it's going beyond just that circle of the diehard fans and reaching the public at large and people who